The head of the VA was in Albuquerque today at a time when people are asking tough questions about VA waiting lists and a recent death at the local VA hospital. Sloan Gibson says the death of that veteran, who was just yards away from the ER when he collapsed, may spark changes on the national level. News 13's Gabrielle Burkhart is in the Newsplex with more.
Dean, that veteran's death was the first thing the acting secretary talked about as both a tragedy and something the VA needs to learn from.
He's bleeding actively out of his mouth and his nose.
A 911 call from within the cafeteria at the Albuquerque VA hospital 2 weeks ago reveals frustration as staffers try and help 71-year-old Jim Garcia, who collapsed.
We called our rapid response here at the hospital, but unfortunately they won't respond to him because he's out of the main medical building.
Staff waited for an ambulance, though the VA emergency room is about 4 blocks away on campus. Garcia didn't make it.
I know it's counterintuitive, it was to me, that we called an ambulance when someone's stricken on a medical campus. But there are very good reasons why.
The Vietnam vet's death was the first thing acting VA Secretary Sloan Gibson addressed in his visit to Albuquerque.
We're going to step back from this and take a fundamental look at how we position ourselves to respond to these kinds of emergencies in the future.
Even so, he says trained medical staff on scene did everything they could to try and save Garcia.
We got people doing CPR.
Nurses, doctors?
Nurses.
Nurses, okay.
They even used a defibrillator to try and resuscitate him. Gibson pointed out when the ambulance arrived, they continued those efforts.
Even the EMS teams don't move a victim that needs to be resuscitated from the location to the vehicle until they've tried to resuscitate.
Gibson says the VA is looking at improving its policy for situations like this, along with focusing on cutting down VA wait times overall, fixing scheduling issues, and rebuilding trust with veterans and the public.
I don't expect anybody to give it back. I expect that we're going to have to earn it back.
This morning, Secretary Gibson met with the 10 people who tried to save Garcia and presented them with a coin in honor of what they did. Back to you.
Gabrielle, thank you. Among possible policy changes in VA buildings, the secretary says they're looking at adding carts carrying the medicines found in ambulances. He says that would need to be regulated since there are controlled substances involved.